So let's talk about punishers. Punishers. Alisa's punishers are mwah. I love them. Some of my favorite punishers from Alisa create opportunities for her to use her chainsaws. And bringing up that chainsaw stance is so important in helping Alisa get far with damage and even getting the life lead and breaking up momentum and everything. So, in talking about punishing, I am going to switch out. We're going to use Alisa. Then we're going to use Kazuya as our dummy. We're going to show a couple of Alisa's beautiful punishers. So the first punisher I want to talk about from Alisa is her 1-1. Her 1-1 is 10 frames. This is her 10 frame punish. It's +5 on hit. And it even has potential mix-ups from it as well, because we don't have just the string 1-1. We also have the string 1-1, 1 + 2, which puts her in chainsaw stance, like I was discussing a little earlier. And sometimes we can even delay it. Sometimes we can even delay this 10 frame. But either way, it is +5, which means once I pull out the chainsaws, if my opponent tries to challenge a certain way, they're getting put in a mix-up, or they're getting knocked down by a chainsaw. Now, on block, obviously this move is +3 for Kazuya and -3 for me. But this is why these are punishers. We use these punishers, and we use these punishers when we need to punish something that an opponent does that is unsafe, and that gives us advantage. That's the plus. That's the key. That is the key. So now I'm going to switch to Kazuya and go to Alisa. And I'm going to show what happens when us, as the Kazuya player, tries to challenge Alisa for doing her 1-1 punish. Record. 1-1, and then we'll do 1. And let's see what happens. Let's try and challenge. 1-1. 1-1. I tried to challenge after getting hit by the 1-1. She hit me with chainsaw 1. This is all on hit. All on hit. I'll demonstrate one more situation with the 1-1 into chainsaw. 1-1, and then I'll do back 2-1. Now I can challenge right there. But when I tried to challenge with my down 4-2, it did not work. Now, my down 4-2 is slower. So if I'm trying to beat her out of anything, like if I'm trying to beat her out of that back 2-1, then a 10 frame will work very well there. But overall, with a 1-1 punish into chainsaw, sometimes it's just best to block or maybe step block. If I step blocked a little, even though it doesn't give me anything really, it's stopping me from, I'm right there next to her, and I'm not constantly getting hit by other mix-ups. That is important. That is very, very important. So now I'll switch back to Alisa. We're using Alisa, and now Kazuya is our opponent again. And then we'll record. We'll just do his delayed hop kick. We'll just use the 10 frame. Okay. She gets 25 damage for this punish. Not bad at all. And the potential additional damage to come after that, definitely not bad at all for what we're doing for 10 frame. I'm content. And we're +5. Can't ask for anything better than that. Another one of Alisa's 10 frame punishers, is her 1-2. Her 1-2 is 10 frames. And I like 1-2 for one of the simple facts that it's +4, right? It's +4 on hit. But it also has mix-ups. 1-2, 4. If you're trying to catch your opponent's moving or stepping a lot, or 1-2, hold 2. 1-2, 2. There's regular 1-2, 2, which is +2 on hit. And then there's 1-2, hold 2. And 1-2 hold 2 gives you a combo. So we have 1-2, 4, 1-2, hold 2, and 1-2, 2, and then we just have 1-2. And it's plus. So you have a little bit of an advantage, so that's always good. So we'll show a couple of different properties of these moves. So we will have Kazuya guard all. 1-2 on block is -2, and Kazuya is at +2, but we are at -2. But this could be a simple jab just to get in. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. 1-2, 4 is -5, and then 1-2 hold 2 is -10. Regular 1-2, 2 without the hold is -11. 1-2, 2 hold is -10. Now what was 1-2, 2 on hit again? Well, it's +34 because knocked down to a combo. But it's a regular hit, it is +2. Gotcha. So now we will switch from Alisa to Kazuya again. Now we're going to see how we deal with this 1-2, this 1-2, 4, and this 1-2 hold 2, and just regular 1-2, 2. We're going to set to repeat action, record. Right, so we will do Alisa's 1-2, and then we'll do 1-2, and then 4. And hit. Try to attack. I tried to respond with a jab. I got counter hit. Tried to do down for 2, did not work. None of that works. Yep. On hit, she definitely has the advantage. For that, she is Alisa's +4. Now we're going to do 1-2 into 1-2, 4. Or we can do 1-2, 1-2, 4. I'll actually also set Kazuya to counter hit. To be counter hit. So we'll set Alisa to be counter hit. And we'll record. Okay. All right. Let's set that. Okay. Then we'll change out Alisa. All right. Just to show the tailspin property. So 1-2, 4 has a tailspin property where if you try to interrupt this, you will get tailspun. Even when I block the 1-2, I am not able to do anything because I'm trying to interrupt a string. So the best option against that is you duck. Yeah, you just duck. And stepping it's not really an option because it tracks. So you can usually just see the animation. So ducking it is no problem. Just duck it. When you have a read on when the opponent's going to do, when you as the Kazuya player know your opponent, the Alisa player is going to do a 1-2-4. You see that? You duck it, you launch. Get your damage. So to expand a little bit more on 1-2-4 and remove the counter hit. We'll show Alisa's 1-2-4 on block. Her 1-2-4 on block is -5 for her and +5 for Kazuya. So if we do like 1-2-4 into 4, we're at -5 as Alisa. But we just interrupted with down forward 2 between that. So if we're going against Alisa, you do have advantage against that move if you block it 1-2-4, or you can just duck it like we did display earlier. Now to discuss 1-2-2. 1-2-2 is interesting. I love this move. I love this move so much. A lot of the time, people of all different skill levels get hit by this move. I'm going to do 1-2-2 without holding it, which when you hold it, it gives you the combo. When you just block this regular version, it is -11. Or you can low parry it if you know it's coming. When you see your spin down like that with that low punch into crouch, you can definitely do a low parry. You can either low parry it or you can just block and punish it with your 10 frame or 11 frame punish from crouch. No problem. Now with 1-2-2 and the hold being on the last two, it's about the same. Now, with this move, though, as you can see, we can't punish 1-2 hold 2 with our 10 to 11 frame punisher from crouch. That is not happening. So what you do in that situation is you low parry it, because punishing it with the actual punisher is not doable when the Alisa player holds the last two. So I'll show it again. 1-2 hold 2. All right. I cannot punish this. This is, even though it's saying it's -10, I'm not able to punish it. Maybe the data's a little off, I'm not sure, but I've tested this against opponents in real fights, and they're not able to punish this. Not the hold, not the 2 hold. The regular 1-2-2, that's fine, but the 1-2-2 hold, you're not punishing it. You have to low parry that. And if we get hit by it, this is what happens. So it's definitely important to low parry. Low parry with the low, remember it like this. Low parry for 2 hold, and you can either low parry or punish the regular 1-2-2. Very important to remember. Alisa's 12 frame punish is her 2-4. I love 2-4. It works really well just by itself for knockdown and wall splats and just in general. Now, I do have on counter hit. I will take it off for a second. So 2-4 is 31 damage. Knockdown, which is nice as well. And counter hit, this move is 33 damage. But aside from that, the 4 in 2-4, if you come in trying to press something and the 4 hits you, the 4 actually counter hits. You can get a little mini combo. 2-4 can also be included in combos. And it goes to a pretty far distance too. So 2-4 is nice and easy, very simple. Sometimes I find myself going to that pretty quick. 2-4. The startup on it is 12, so that's nice. And on hit, it is plus 21. So you get the knockdown, and maybe you want to come in and automatically start doing mix-ups and things like that. I will set Kazuya to do a move, and we'll just punish it. And we get 2-4. So you see the range is a little short. It's a little short, maybe from right here. So, but it seems to punish every time. Seems to reach pretty far, but there are times where it does whiff a little bit because the range is a little short. So maybe from range like maybe 1.5 to 2, it's really good. But especially with walls, it's even better. Because then you get wall splats and get extra damage. Alisa's 13 frame Punisher is her 3-2. 3-2 used to be safe, but it changed with the season. And 3-2 it's a 60 combo, 32 damage. And it's plus 5 on hit. So, which means we have advantage. You know what that means? We have saws. We have saws. So we have a little bit of advantage. We're gonna use it. And the great thing is, it keeps our opponents close to us. It keeps them close to us. So if we want to start doing mix-ups from chainsaw, we can. Now, for 3-2 on hit being plus 5, on block it is plus 12. Or plus 12 for Kazuya, negative 12 for us. So he gets a 12 frame punish. I miss that. I miss it being safe. I really do. I love throwing out this move. I thought this move was, it's one of those moves where opponents, they'll press buttons on the move. Like you'll throw out the 3 and then they'll get hit by the 2. It happens so much. But now, if they kind of just block it, they can punish it with a 12 frame punisher or something around those lines. And I'm a little disappointed about that, but what it allows is some really nice mix-ups now that you have it's plus 5. Now you can use it. You can use it as a 13 frame punish. And that's huge because that wasn't possible before in past seasons with this Punisher at all. So it allows for a good punish. It's a long range punish. And you can even do mix-ups now from it. Even more so in Chainsaw. Okay, now I'll go to record, and we'll record Kazuya doing something. With any Punisher. We do 3-2. Right away. And it's reaching from a nice distance. And it's perfect. It's reaching from a nice distance, and we get the chainsaws. Now I will switch to Kazuya, and we'll be using Kazuya. And then I'll switch this to Alisa. All right, we will set her to do 3-2 to forward. Forward 1, since she has a +5 on block. +5 on hit. +5 on hit. Can't interrupt that. Try to step that. Can't step that. So punishing an opponent accurately will really give you some great options for mix-ups from the 3-2 punish right there. But when we block it, see what happens. We get a back 1-2 punch with Kazuya. Because it is -12. So depending on who your opponent uses, being cautious of the type of punishers that your opponent's character has is very important, because it's the difference between you getting knocked down or wall splatted or being punished not as harshly. This is very harsh, so be careful. Be very careful. Another one of Alisa's 13 frame punishers is her 4. Her 4 is awesome. Wow, this move, like, I love using this move. It's 13 frames, +21 on hit. Of course, because knockdown. On block, it is -5, so not really much advantage. And it's +5 for Kazuya, or your opponent. It also tail spins on counter hit and regular hit. Regular hit in a combo. Regular hit in a combo. Let's go to counter hit. Yep. Gives a very nice healthy tail spin right there. And we get a nice combo. And you can even do 4 in a combo. So it has a couple different uses. It's a homing move as well. So if my opponent is trying to step, I can use it to stop them and shut them down from moving and trying to evade me. So I will set Kazuya to do down for 1, then step. Down. For that again. Down for 1, step. Down for 1, step. And even though he's blocking it, it's still connecting with him. Even though he's blocking it, it's not like he's completely evading it and launching me. It's still the fact that I can use 4 and make my opponent aware that, hey, I see you stepping. I'm using my 4 to stop you. And what happens is, if I do down forward 1 and then I just walk, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get hit trying to do that against Alisa. This is a great 13 frame homing move. Now, as you can see, it is a high, and so it is really important for you to use Alisa's 4 here and there because it can be ducked by opponents. So being conscious of that as well, because you can get ducked and launched for it. And if an opponent can get a reading on where you're doing that for, they can launch you or whip punish you if you throw it out a little too much. But aside from that, this move, this Punisher, has so many uses other than just being a Punisher, which is the beauty in it, really. So I'm going to record Alisa doing 1, 2, and then 4. I tried to attack right there. I got counter hit 4 because 1, 2 is +4 on hit. Now if I just block this and then I duck, we have it. We were able to duck. We were able to launch. So that was very important too. Now let's see what happens when we stay outside the range. Stay outside the range and we punished it. It does have good range, but once you stay outside a certain range and you know the Alisa player is waiting for you to come in and they're using that 4 constantly, you can kind of bait them for that. Because a lot of Alisa players will use 4 as keep out. So if you can just stay outside the range when they do, you will be ready to punish them every single time as a Kaiju player or any other type of character you use. It's really important to know. Now 4 can crush jabs. I think it will be best for me to switch to Alisa and then switch to Kazuya to create the situation. Okay. So I have the set chord. I did 1, 1. Trying to stay a certain range. I'll try and do a couple of jabs. I'll try to stay a little bit further. See how quick that move is? I'll wait for the other one too. See how quickly she was able to snuff out that second batch of jabs? She can stay outside a certain range and really deal with jabs. It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. It's good keep out. She can stay outside a certain range and dealing with opponents coming in and using certain jabs. So 4 is a great move when it comes to 13 frame punishing. It's also a great move because it tail spins on counter hit. It's a great move because you can use that as a tail spin in regular combos, and it knocks down. And it's also a homing move, and it's so fast. So it has multiple uses. 4 is one of Alisa's greatest punishers. It's just greatest. It's one of her greatest tools in general. Another one of Alisa's 13 frame punishers is her wall rising 1, 2. So I'll set Kazuya to do down forward 1, 2. Down forward 1, 2. Negative 13. So what do we have? That wall rising 1, 2 to punish. So the great thing about this move is that it's +6 on hit. And it gives us a little bit of advantage, right? But you know what's even better? You can go in a chainsaw from it. I believe it wasn't always like that either. So it gives us even more advantage. And it gives us more mix-ups, keeping our opponent close to us and making them guess even more, which is definitely to our advantage. I'll even show another example with another character. We'll go to Jack. I love using Jack as an example for many things, but with Jack, I'm going to display his wall rising 2-1. It's -13. And how we punish that. See? Same punch. Same concept. We get the same punish just like we did Kazuya's down forward 1-2. But this is 14. This is 14. My apologies, this is 14, but because we are in crouch, we don't have a 14 frame launcher from crouch. So what we're going to do is we're going to use her wall rising 1-2, which is the next best thing to punish. I am going to show what happens if Jack tries to do something after we punish with our wall rising 1-2. Okay. Actually, I'm going to set it for will be Jack, and then I'll switch to Lisa, so I can show the example from the opponent's perspective. So press record. So we'll do her wall rising 1-2, then we'll do forward 1. See what happens. We'll do it on hit. And we can't do anything. I tried to do forward 2 after that. Wasn't working. 2. Yeah, I tried to do my 2 jab, which is 11. Yep, I can't do anything. 11 frames. Yep. Because yeah, I wasn't able to interrupt. I'm trying to do forward 2. It's not happening. So just think if we would have done wall rising 2-1 as Jack. Alisa blocks it, does wall rising 1-2, and is able to get additional damage because she's plus. Or potential mix-ups as well because she's plus. So we've talked about pokes, we've talked about punishers, we've talked about stances, and now we're going to get to a part that just gives me so much joy, and I'm known for this. Everybody who's played me or anybody who knows me knows this is one of the things that I use the most with Alisa. Her power crush. Now, we will be talking about her 2 power crushes, but specifically we will start with her down forward 1+2. So Alisa's down forward 1+2 is, it's quick. It's quick, and it also is 13 frames. It used to be 14, and before that it used to be safe. So the fact that Alisa's power crush has evolved that much over time, and we're in this really kind of nice spot for Alisa where, you know, though the power crush is punishable, it's not to the point where she's getting launched for it with like 14 frame launches from other characters. So that in itself is a blessing. So Alisa's down forward 1+2. On hit, it is +8. Startup frames on it is 19. But remember, even with the startup frames on it being slower, remember that this Power Crush can absorb multiple hits. I will show what it is on block. It is -13. So of course, like I said, it's not safe, but 13 is better than 14. And of course, altogether, I wish it was safe, like in the original, I believe it was the first season, but you know, we take what we can get, and 13 is not a problem. So this down forward 1+2 also has a couple of other properties too that I've noticed over time. It's very hard to step if it's even steppable at all. I don't believe it is steppable, but we will test this. And along with it potentially not being steppable, it also tail spins. So first, let's talk about the steppable properties of it. Like, are you able to step this move? Or is it what we consider a homing move? We'll go to Kazuya, and then we will switch to Alisa. All right. So we will be doing this from the perspective of Kazuya. Go to repeat action. Go to record. So we'll do like maybe down 4 and then, or down 4, 1+2, or Power Crush. Okay, so I can step block, but let's see what happens. I cannot walk it that way. I cannot walk it that way either. Let's see if I'm a little further away. What am I able to do? Yeah, I'm getting hit by that pretty convincingly. You can't really step it. Let's just double check on that. So we'll do Elisa's maybe down forward 1 into Power Crush. Yeah, I'm not stepping it. Oh, okay. Maybe to the right. To the right. Okay. To the right, it is steppable. But if I get hit by maybe a move like down forward 1 that's plus, or any other move that's like plus, and it's not like a move that's leaving me negative on hit, to challenge that Power Crush by stepping is looking like it's putting me in a really odd spot. Yeah, I'm not able to at all. But if I do block, and I know my opponent, the Alisa player, does a lot of follow-up moves, like a Power Crush, then I can step. But this is what I'm noticing. You can step the Power Crush to the right. You can step it to the right, but you cannot step it to the left. You are going to get clipped, and you're going to get hit to the left. So let's change sides. Let's go to 2P, and let's double check on that. So we'll first start with the right. Okay, we're good. You cannot step to the left. Now let's try it with another move one more time, because we did do down forward 1 for that. Let's maybe try doing something from stance first. Let's try something from her chainsaw stance. And because she has some plus moves from that as well. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's so plus that I can't step that way at all. It's keeping me pretty still. Oh. So with Alisa chainsaw stance, if we're trying to deal with that Power Crush as Kazuya, it's going to be hard if she's in chainsaw stance. She does something that's super plus and you're trying to step to the right. Though that is the way to evade that Power Crush, it seems. It's harder for you to step, and you're probably not going to be able to step it if the move on block is super plus. And it is. That move was locked Kazuya down. This chainsaw forward 1+2 left us completely stuck. And that is, she's +7 on that, and that's on block. So if she's doing that move and she's +7 on block like that, +7, and it's going to be really hard for me to try and challenge that with a step. I'll display that again just to show the example. 1+2, and instead, yep, that is not going to happen. So I'd say be very aware of when you're stepping or trying to deal with that power crush in chainsaw stance. But remember, with Alisa not even using her stance, you can step that power crush. You can walk it though. And I should say more like not step, but you can walk it. You can walk it to the right. But I will double check on the stepping / walking aspect of it. Down for 1, down for 1+2. All right. Let's see. All right, so that time we just step blocked. And what happened was we were able to block, but we weren't able to make Alisa whiff. So we're going to have to probably commit to a full walk. So that's a hard read. Yeah, that is a hard read right there. But I'm evading it completely. But the thing is, you have to remember, you have to step, you cannot step it, you have to walk it, which means you are going to be committing to a full walk. So that's something to be mindful of. So next we're going to talk about the tailspin property of this move. I'm going to simple select. I'm going to go back to Alisa. The tailspin aspect of this move is great because Alisa does have combos that do accommodate that tailspin. It's not just like, okay, I have the tailspin, I kind of can do something with it. No, she actually has combos for it. So I can show a few right here, or just like one for 1+2. Pink power crush into the forward 2-1, and that tailspin. So I'll show it again. Tailspin. And so this can be used even without being in the chainsaw stance. So I could do just a regular combo and then do power crush into a combo. Now, I think it's more fitting to use the power crush with the chainsaw combo, which is the one we just did. This one. I definitely feel like it fits more for that situation, because if I'm using this tailspin for combos like this, the enders don't always work the same. It carries me further away from them because the power crush itself brings my opponent further away. So I definitely recommend with this power crush tailspin that you use it more for the chainsaw, but that doesn't mean that it can't be useful. And even with the ender itself, like, the thing about the power crush is that it leaves you in chainsaw. It leaves you in chainsaw stance. So if you're trying to use that in a tailspin like a combo, like I said, you're not going to really be able to do much with that after the tailspin. That's why you don't really see Alisa players going for that much. They'll go for their regular tailspins, and they won't go for the power crush one, because the one that it's suited for is chainsaw. And Alisa players, we go into chainsaw quite often, so we'll probably get that combo off at least 2 or 3 times in a whole game, maybe even 10 times in a whole game. Who knows? But with conditioning your opponent enough, Yeah, you'll get this combo. You'll get the Tailspin Power Crush too and everything. So now that we've tackled that part of the Power Crush where we're trying to understand what its uses are, like we talked about how it's a great move to stop our opponents from stepping us. It's a great move to stop our opponents from pressing too much. So I want to show what Alisa can do in regards to absorbing hits with this Power Crush. Okay, we'll set Keiichi to. And I think this Power Crush is very good for strings. I'll use this one as an example. So I did down forward 3, 2, 1. Or put that again. Down forward 3, 2, 1. And I'll show what it can do. See how it interrupts that? Right in between it. See how quick that was? One more example I want to show about Power Crushes and understanding strings in regards to how we want to use our Power Crush to interrupt these strings. I want to use the example of Kazuya's down forward 1, 4 and down forward 1, 2. So I'll set him to it. Down forward 1, 2. And then down forward 1, 4. And then I'll also set the example of down forward 1, forward 2. All right, so we're going to use our Power Crush to interrupt the second part of each of these strings. So we had the down forward 1, 4, the down forward 1, 2, and the down forward 1, forward 2. I was able to interrupt that down forward 1, 2 because the second part of the string ended up being 20 frames. Just a solid 20 frames, and it was also slower. It was a bit slower, and it's not a 3-part string. It's two. It's a 2-part. So we're able to interrupt that. So now I'm going to do Kazuya's down forward 1, 4, down forward 1, 4. So automatically, the last part of it is 16 to 17 frames. The 4 in the string is 16 to 17. Automatically, I know interrupting that is not going to be a possibility at all because it's way quicker than my Power Crush. I tried to challenge right there, and I'm getting counter hit for it. Yeah, I'm getting hit out of it. I'm getting interrupted for it. So because down forward 1, 4, the 4 being 16 to 17 frames, and my Power Crush being 19 to 20, which is definitely slower than the 4, I cannot do that. And then we have down forward 1, forward 2. And you see right there, the forward 2 part of the string is 20 frames. That's the end part of it is 20 frames. Let's try that again. And we're able to interrupt because that's 20 frames and our Power Crush is 19 to 20. So we talked a bit about, the use of Alisa's Power Crush and the properties of it, and we've even discussed a bit about how you can use this Power Crush to interrupt strings. But with discussing how the Power Crush can interrupt strings, I also would like to talk about when it's appropriate to interrupt a string and when it's not appropriate. Because there are times where if it's not an appropriate time for an Alisa player to use the Power Crush to interrupt the string, you will get counter hit and you will get comboed for it. So I will set Kazuya to do 3-1-4. And 3-1-4 is quick. It's a quick sequence. There's no slight pause or delay. So 3-1-4. So let's test and see if she can interrupt this, which she probably will not be able to. It's too quick. She's trying to challenge it, but she doesn't have enough frames to work with it. And the strings, the speed between each hit of the string is 1, 2, 3. There's no delay there as well. So now we're gonna do down forward 3-2-1, and let's see what the difference is in that. Down forward 3-2-1. 1. 3, 2, 1. See what happened right there. We were able to interrupt the Power Crush. We were able to interrupt with our Power Crush. So what happened with that was the string was slower. It was delayed as well. Like this string in itself has a slight delay between the 2 and the 1. So I'll show it again. Down forward 3, 2, 1. Between the 2 and the 1. And even if I mash it out, it's still a slight delay within it, which is great for us because that means we can interrupt it. So strings that have different speeds as well will really determine if you're going to be able to challenge with that Power Crush. Now, kind of to refer back to the previous string we were talking about, which was the 3-1-4. 3-1-4. So with strings that have like a speed like that you can't challenge up close on block, when you have to block all the hits. Now, the way that this Power Crush can work in regards to strings like that is, say if you're already kind of out of the range of the string, you can backdash. You can backdash, let certain parts of the string hit, or certain parts of the string whiff, and then you will be able to accurately, or for the most part, punish with the Power Crush. Okay, I'll reset I'll show the situation again. And she was able to absorb it. Because there's only one part of the string that's hitting, or that we're blocking. So the last part of that string, the end of it completely, ended up being like 21 to 22 frames. And our Power Crush is 19 to 20. Our Power Crush is still technically quicker. And so because we are interrupting one move, which was the end of Kazuya's move, instead of trying to interrupt a whole string, which from the beginning, the string itself is 14. It starts off with 14. It really helps us as the Alisa player to understand that. That's why you'll find that maybe you're like, oh, I was able to interrupt this when my opponent with these 2 moves of the string. That's because the startup of it is different. The startup frames of it are different. You're blocking one move that's probably slower on startup compared to blocking 3 moves in a string that are quicker depending on the move or depending on the string. So it's important to know that. So I'll show that one more time because I want this to really sink in with the Alisa players and people in general who are trying to interrupt with Power Crushes. You have to understand the speed of your opponent's string, and so you can understand what to challenge. So 3-1-4. 3-1. Step back a little bit more. because the 4 is showing at the end. That end part is 21 to 22 frames. Remember, we are 19 to 20 frames. 19 to 20 frames means, hey, my power crush is quick enough to absorb that 4. So just a small thing to keep in mind. All about speeds and frames and understanding those in regards to that power crush. It's the difference between you absorbing the hits and being plus for it, or getting counter hit because you challenged at a time where you did not have the frames to actually do that. So we discussed Alisa's power crushes: her down forward 1+2, her back forward 2, how you use them to interrupt strings, how to work around them, how to utilize them correctly, how to use them in the most favorable situations. And now that we've talked about those power crushes, let's discuss launchers. Very important is launchers with Alisa. And she has tons. But one of the things that I've always loved about Alisa was the fact that a lot of her launchers have a nice range on them too. And range in regards to punishing and launching and with punishing, it's very important, because it's the difference between getting more damage or just doing a jab or a jab punish. You're not getting the same amount of damage at all. Okay, so first launcher I'd like to talk about is her back 4-4 new addition. It's a new addition to this season, and it's a natural combo. So back 4-4. So it's 34 damage, but there's a follow-up. And she gets her punch melee. And it gives you actually 64 damage. And with the wall, that's even more damage. Now, on block, that's a little different. We're going to switch to Kazuya. Now, this move on block is scary. You don't want to be the Alisa player that whipped back 4-4 and got launched for it or floated for it. It's a very dangerous situation to play with. So we're going to do her back 4-4. And we literally walked right up to her, and we were able to launch her. So that again. Yeah, we were able to launch her pretty convincingly. And that's because that last part of the frame, the last part of the string is 25 to 27 frames, and that's slow. It's slow. So we're able to walk up and do a delayed hop kick, because ours is between 23 to 25 in regards to starter frames. And that's huge. Like, you whipping that move as the Alisa player, you are at a high risk. Now, say if we're the Alisa player and we do back 4-4, and then we try to fly forward. That can be floated too. So there's options around this move. So the way I think is best to utilize this move is you use it as a whiff punisher. You use it as a whiff punisher. It's a launcher, but it's also a whiff punisher. So I'll go back to simple select. We'll go back to Alisa, and I'll show some examples of that. Go to Kazuya. Okay. So we're going to set Kazuya to maybe do a couple moves. Have him whiff a little bit. We'll do like 1-1, and then we'll do 1-1, and then down back to. We'll have him whip that. Literally, we were able to dash up and do that. It has pretty nice range on it too. We were able to dash up and do that. And she's hitting it from even like range 2. Try from right here. Yeah, so the range on it is beautiful. She's able to hit it from a lot of ranges. It's a long range launcher / whiff punisher. So it's a really strong move. It's very unsafe on block. It's important to understand that if you're going to use it as that whip punisher. Be careful of just using it on block, because if the opponent knows how to deal with that move, and at least in general, they will float you or they will launch you. Next launcher we'll talk about is down forward 2. Down forward 2 is safe. It's amongst the list of down forward 2s like Asuka's and Paul's. Those really safe down forward 2s that serve more as keep out. It's 16 to 17 frames in startup. And pretty nice combo that goes with it, depending on what you choose to do. Now I will show what the properties are of it on block, as well as on hit. Maybe a little bit further away from him. We'll have him standing guard. This move on block is -9. So, you know, it's not like it has any crazy frame advantage or nothing like that. It's -9, and it leaves Kazuya at +9. Now, I am going to show what happens when you, as the Alisa player, you try and use this down forward 2 at ranges 0. Maybe 0.5. What happens with it? And ways to understand how your opponent may defend against this move. We're going to go to repeat action. We're going to set Kazuya to do like maybe 1, down forward 1, then step. And we'll see what happens when we do the down forward 2 after he does the moves we created for him to repeat. See how easily the computer stepped that, or I technically stepped that. And he's stepping that to the right, very convincingly. And it's evading me. That walk is evading me. And that's to the right. Now let's test what happens if we do the same sequence, but to the left. Gonna do 1, down for 1. Now this is to the left. 1, down for 1. The move is connecting. He's just not taking any damage for it. Wow. Okay. Looks like it's definitely hitting him. It's not tracking. Even if you step block, it's connecting technically. And if you step and you don't block, it's going to hit you. Let's try that again. And we'll do a walk. A full walk. Go a little closer. He's able to evade that too. He's able to evade that pretty well. But it looks like you have to walk it. You can't step it. You can't just step. You have to walk. You have to fully commit. So let's try that one more time, though, but with the step. Okay. So it's connecting, and he's just not taking any damage. But this is one of those moves where you have to walk it. You cannot step this. All right. Yeah, but it is walkable to the left and to the right. You can't step it. You can't step it though to the left. Let's double check on if you can step it though to the right. One more time. So it's connecting, you're just not taking damage yet again to the right. So it's definitely walkable. It's walkable to the left and to the right. But if your opponent only commits to stepping, then it can still technically catch them. Down forward 2 also serves as a very good move for keep out since it's so safe. The range on it is a little weird. It's not, it doesn't have the best range. It doesn't have the best range at all. It's one of those moves where you're like at range 1.5, which is like maybe 1 to 1.5, and it'll hit. It'll hit. But the guaranteed way of it hitting is you being at range 0. Range 0, 0.5. It hits, or 0 to 1. 1 is max. Maybe 1.5 depending. It's just sometimes it's a little questionable. It's hitting from like 1.7, 1.9. So maybe even 2 depending. But to guarantee that it's going to hit, like, and you don't have to worry about maybe whiffing, I'd say maybe 1.5 to 1 should be the max. It should be the max. Depending on where you are on the screen. I'm going to record Kazuya. Maybe dashing forward. And we'll use this as keep out. We're just able to stop him coming in. Using that to keep out. See how it kind of just goes under? We do that little hook. And even with the trade, that little hook kind of just, it helps us deal with keeping him out. And we're still playing that. We're able to play that keep out. Yeah, and that was from a pretty nice range too, so it's just this great keep out as well. It's safe. It's 16 to 17 with startup frames. It's kind of shorter range depending, but overall it's a pretty average range, and you can throw it out and not have to worry about someone punishing it. But you have to be aware that if you're doing down forward 2 and your opponent likes to step a lot, if they're walking the move, be conscious of that. Now, if they're stepping it, you can't really step down forward 2 as much as you can walk it. So it's important to understand that about down forward 2. The next launcher I'll talk about is very similar in regards to range to me as down forward 2. And that move, and that launcher is up forward 4-4. This move right here, up forward 4-4, is a 15 frame launcher, 15 to 16 frame, but 15 frame launcher. On block, it is -13. And depending on the character, depending on who you're going against, this can be launched. And I'll show that right here. And Kazuya is one of those characters who actually, he can launch it with his twin pistons. That's really important to know. Really important to remember, because if you're gonna throw this move out, which it's not a bad move to use, it's like a move to bait someone or kind of see where your opponent's head is. But if you're going to do the move and you're going to finish it, you have to think about, okay, is my opponent's character the type of character that has a 13 frame launcher? Okay, so we're going to set Alisa to do up forward 4-4. Right there, we automatically got the wall rising one too. It was no problem, super easy. Yeah, it's a really simple, easy punish. Yeah, so you want to be careful about that as the Alisa player. Now, if you're going against Alisa, if you have a character that has a 13-frame launcher, and it's from crouch, yeah, a 13-frame launcher that's from crouch like that, use that. Definitely use it if your character has it. Kazuya is well known for being good in that regard. Now, a 444, like I was talking about earlier, the range on it is not bad. But I always recommend that if you're going to extend the range, don't do up 4-4. Because up 4-4 is just going to have Alisa stay in the same place, technically. She's staying in the same place. She's kind of staying in the same place. Like, it's not extending her forward, but this does. You'll see that, like, you see the slight difference between up 4 and up forward 4. I'll go a little further back. So there's upward, where I'm staying in one place. I'm jumping up. And then the difference between that and up forward 4 is that. Just like if I do a move like up 3+4, I'm staying right there. I'm not going forward. I'm not projecting myself forward. But when I do go forward, this is what it looks like. If I'm going forward, it's going to propel me, it's going to move me closer to them, which really helps in regards to whiff punishing. That's the difference between whiff punishing someone and then missing the whiff punish because you did up instead of up forward, depending on your move. So I'm going to record Kazuya doing a sequence, and then I'm going to show the difference between whiff punishing with that up 4 and then whiff punishing with that up forward 4-4. Okay. Yeah, see how that whipped right there? I did up 4 and it whipped. I should have gotten the whip punish, but I used up 4. But I used up forward 4-4 right there and I was able to. Do it again. We'll let him whip that again. See how it missed again? It missed again. It missed again. So you want to be aware of that. You want to be ready to use the up forward 4-4 instead. Using up forward 4-4, it will be more useful than using up 4. Because up 4 is not propelling you forward. It's not moving you closer to your opponent to punish them. It's keeping you kind of in a smaller space. The great thing about this move, the great thing about this launcher is that it gives a bound and a tailspin. So you even get a nice little combo for it. It even gives a decent amount of damage for the combo. It's great because it gives the bound and the tailspin. I love that about this move. So, upward 4-4. It's a good launcher. Has moderate range. It's a 15-frame launcher. It can keep the opponent in crouch. It keeps the opponent in crouch. It's when blocked, it is -13. So certain characters can punish it harder and launch it from crouch, depending on the character. Kazuya is one of those characters who can launch it with twin pistons. And upward 4-4, if you're going to use it, definitely use the forward 4-4. The up forward version of it. Use that version of it. It's really important that you remember that, and you won't have any problems. Next launcher I'm going to talk about is Forward 3-2. Forward 3-2 is a 14-frame launcher. It puts you in chainsaw stance. And it allows for you to punish 14 frame moves that a lot of characters actually can't launch. They have to use like maybe a knockdown punisher, but they don't get a combo for it. Alisa is fortunate. She can punish it, and it's got long range. I'll show what range at which she can use this punish. Range 2.5 is a little far. Let's try range 2.3. 2.3 is like maybe the max. 2. Yeah, I'm gonna say like 2.3. Range 2 is the max. It's a little far. And like I said, it puts you in chainsaw stance. So the follow-up for that normally would be 4-4-2-1. But say maybe you want to do something a little different. Maybe you want to do that in 2-3, and then maybe you want to go into 3, and then you want to duck. Maybe you want to mix up your opponent. Maybe you just want to keep them close. Because if you do 4-3-2, and then you do the whole combo, it kind of leaves them a little bit away from you. So it lets your opponent have a chance to gather their bearings. You don't always want that. So maybe if you do 4-3-2, then like I said, you do 3 maybe, and you're still crouching. Got a couple options. Now I will show how it is a punisher for 14 frame moves. So I'll do Kazuya's back 1-2. Back 1-2 on block is -14. Yep, at the bottom, -14. Now we're going to punish it. Smooth, clean punish, 4-3-2. Do it one more time. 4-3-2. Perfect. So I'm also going to show this example with a move that's a launcher itself. And that'll be Jack 7's down forward 2 uppercut. I love using this as an example. Because there are times where I'll be playing as Alisa, and Jack players, that's their go-to move. That's one of their go-to moves. It has great range, good keep out. It's a solid move. It's a negative. It's around -14, but let's double check. We'll record down forward 2. Yep, that move is -14. So there will be times where, say, if the downward 2 just comes out so quick, you want to do what sometimes people like to do. At least the players like to do 4. Okay, it's like it's quick. It's in the moment. You're like, whoa, they did down forward 2. You blocked it, but you're like, okay, I just one button punish 4. But if you can train yourself to, when you see that down forward 2 you punish with that 4-3-2, it will help you just hugely. I'll show it again. It's pretty smooth too. And you can even use that as a keep out, like, or you can use it as a move where you whip punish them. You want to punish them for it. But yeah, forward 3-2 is very good against 14 frame launchers as well. Or just moves out of 14 frames. That forward 3-2 is great for that. This move on block is -4. I don't recommend doing it point blank like this. I personally I use it as a launcher. I use it as a launcher and a whip punisher because that's what I personally feel like it's for. But there is a mix-up from it. There's forward 3-2, and there's forward 3-1+2. So there is the mix-up from that. Now, one can be ducked, and I'll show that. We'll go to Alisa. So yeah, forward 3-2 is a launcher, but there is another string from that is forward 3-1 plus 2. Forward 3-2, the 2 is duckable. Forward 3-1 plus 2 is not duckable. All right, so I'm gonna put to repeat action. Then we're going to do forward 3. We're gonna do forward 3-2. And then you see how easily you can just duck that? So forward 3-2, like I said, I don't recommend just throwing it out at point blank, especially when your opponent is guarding and they know the matchup. Forward 3-2 is duckable. The 2 is duckable. But there is another move from forward 3, and that move is forward 3-1 plus 2, which is forward 3-2, and then there's forward 3-1 plus 2. The great thing is, if you see your opponent doing or ducking forward 3-2, what you'll do is you can start conditioning them to kind of try and see, like, if they know that the move is a high and they're looking to duck that, you can do the mid, forward 3-1 plus 2. And on hit, this move is plus 8. So I'll show in regards to defending it as well. Okay, so we'll do 4-3-2. Get the duck. Yeah, it comes out pretty quick, you know, but it's seeable. And then there is 4-3-2. So say if I'm trying to scout out that forward 3-2. So then I just set it to forward 3-1 plus 2. So I can show what happens. I got hit by the mid. I'm not hit. If I'm ducking that, I'm getting hit. It's 13 frames though. We get this nice little lunge forward from Jack. And that because forward 3-1 plus 2 is negative 13. So yeah, forward 3-2 is a great 14 frame launcher. It puts you in chainsaw. It allows for you to be close to your opponent, give some mix-ups, and really get that momentum on your side. Downside though is that forward 3-2, you can duck the 2. You can definitely duck the 2. But the plus side is that you can use forward 3-1 plus 2 as the mix up between forward 3-2 and forward 3-1 plus 2. So we'll go back to using Alisa, go back to Kazuya. Last launcher I'm going to talk about today is also a very important launcher too. Wall Rising 2. This beauty right here. Wall Rising 2. And then it goes into a combo. And get a nice little combo for it. There's a lot of good uses for the move that I will discuss right now. So let's talk about some properties about it. Standing guard, put that on for Kazuya. So the move on block is negative 13. Not bad for a launcher that can literally kill. Not bad at all. You can even go into other moves. You can go into fly, do mix-ups from it, which I'll show a little bit. I'll show a little bit of that in a couple minutes. So, though it is negative 13 on block, that's not that bad. Like, punishing it, like, if you get punished for it, it's not going to be detrimental to you. The great thing about Wall Rising 2 is that it's a longer range launcher. I'll set Kazuya to do, like, maybe I'll start to do a move right there. And I'll demonstrate the range of it. See where the range was on that? It's pretty far. That was like range 2. Go a little further back. Yeah, that was like range 2 right there. Yeah, that's like, yeah, that's range 2. So, and you can even, like, being from that range and being able to punish something from that far is huge. It's so helpful for Alisa. And you get it, you launch them up into the air, and you get pretty nice amount of damage for it too. And it's one of those launches where it can carry pretty far to the other side of the wall or to the other part of the stage, thus keeping your opponent to their back to the wall. Another great thing about this wall rising too is the fact that it crushes highs. And I'll record that. I'll do like maybe down 4-4, then 1. She went right under that clean, smooth. Let's show that again. Right under it. So, you know, she goes under pretty convincingly, but what actually, to me, creates that crushing property is when Alisa does moves like that already put her in crouch, like her back one puts her in crouch. So then if your opponent tries to challenge you on hit after doing that back one, you can do that wall rising too, especially if you've seen that your opponent's reacting the same way every single time. Or maybe you're doing down back 3 and your opponent's swinging high. If you're doing down back 3 and they're swinging high, a wall rising 2 is not a bad idea. So I'm going to go to simple select. Then we're going to pick Kazuya, so I can display how Alisa's wall rising 2 is how it can go under jabs and certain moves pretty easily, especially depending on if you the opponent are challenging her on hit, depending on the move. Okay, so we're going to do back 1 and then wall rising 2. Right there, I try to attack. And because Alisa's at she's at +8 after that, I'm not pressing anything. So even on block, if I try and respond, so say if on block, I respond, as the Kazuya player, I respond with jabs. Let's see what happens then. I'm able to interrupt her because it leaves me at +5. But the great thing about Alisa is that just because she might, share her move is the move that she does, maybe like back 1 or down back 3, just because those moves are blocked, you can use that as a way to see how your opponent's responding to you. So you can start conditioning them. So, for example, the Kazuya player is blocking my back 1. Maybe they expect that I'm going to do a low after that. The great thing is if I do that back 1, they're expecting something, I can stay crouching, and then I can do that while rising 2. I can delay and wait. Go back to simple select. Or I can condition. I can condition with, maybe I'm doing back 1, I'm doing back 1 to crouching, back 1 to crouching down forward, 1 + 2. Maybe I'm doing that. Maybe I conditioned my opponent enough to start trying to look for that low. And what happens when they finally try to respond to that low? They're gonna get launched. Like that. So I think Wall Rising 2 can even be one of those great conditioning like launchers. Like once you really opened up your opponent, using that Wall Rising 2 as a big launcher to say like, hey, I caught you ducking is not a bad idea at all. It's not a bad idea at all. There's even mix-ups you can do from that, so it makes your Wall Rising 2, like the success of it hitting, it being higher. So say maybe I'm doing back 1 into down 3 a lot, or maybe I'm doing back 1 into like down back 3, or I'm doing back 1 and I wait, which we did refer to earlier in the video. That's when you start seeing how your opponent is reacting. So we're gonna go to simple select, change it again to Kazuya. We're gonna go to Alisa. Okay. So even that delay in waiting can make all the difference. So if we do back 1, wait, then do Wall Rising 2. Let's see what happens then, even on block. See how that whip happened? That my jabs are now whipping because she's ducking me instead. And you as the Alisa player are waiting. You're waiting because you see your opponents. Maybe you've seen that your opponent is always reacting after you do back 1. And they're reacting with those high jabs. So let's record again. So I'll do back 1, wait, Wall Rising 2. Let's try it now. Back 1, wait. Okay. Back 1, 1, 2. And that hit me. Because I'm acting as an opponent who's responding on block to a move like back 1. So yeah, just seeing how your opponent is responding to your back 1 as the Alisa player is super important. So that's the difference between you hitting off that Wall Rising 2 or possibly getting counter hit. Because just because they block your move doesn't mean you have to do a follow-up or anything. You can wait and see how they respond, and then you can kind of think about how to place your Wall Rising 2. So Wall Rising 2 is a great longer range punisher. It's also -13, which is not bad for a launcher that does a lot of damage. So for your opponent who's punishing this move, 13 frames, a lot of the characters, like, it's not that harsh of a punish if they punish you for it. And Wall Rising 2 can even go into some nice little follow-ups. So I will change to simple select again. Go back to Kazuya. So me personally, sometimes what I like to do, and because this is something that I've carried over from Tag 2. So I'm going to do a regular combo. And then sometimes I'll whip the Wall Rising 2, and then it'll keep me close to them again. It'll keep me close to my opponent again. Or maybe I'll set to stage select, because I feel like this is very important. And we're going to set it to a wall. And it's going to be only specifically for this move, because I think this really matters. Just how, like, when you do this move at the wall, how it keeps you close to your opponent. And it instills fear in that way. Okay. So we're going to set ourselves to the wall. Wall. All right. So let's say we do like that. See how that wall rising 2 keeps us that close to them? Well, now let's set this to. We'll have the opponent, our opponent, the Kazuya dummy. We'll set it to have him get up. Standing guard. Back quick roll. Maybe we'll just do side quick roll left. Why not? Stand. Okay. So it's keeping us right there with them, no matter how they get up. Even that wall rising 2 into that fly, like that delayed 3, was still even not a bad option. It's forcing your opponent to guess on wake up. We're coming down to the final concept to talk about. Alisa's Rage Drive. Alisa's Rage Drive has the top 5 in the game. In my opinion, top 5 Rage Drives in the game. It's a long range whiff punisher. It can even punish moves that have pushback. This move, it has wall to wall combo potential. It has damage. It's just the type of move that this Rage Drive is. It's such a strong comeback factor. So let's talk a little bit about Alisa's Rage Drive. So we're going to put Kazuya to standing guard. So the Rage Drive by itself, without going into fly, is this just by itself is 0. The frame advantage is 0. So nobody gets any advantage at all. The startup frame on it is 16. And it's even great in combo starters or even combo enders or serving. You can use that Rage Drive as like a nice move to incorporate within your combos. It elongates them. Okay, so let's talk about stand. Actually, let's go back to standing guard. So now let's talk about Alisa's Rage Drive into fly. That is forward 2 plus 3, 3 plus 4. And so then it becomes frame advantage plus 5 on block. So this is where you'll get your mix-ups. You'll get your mix-ups. It'll bring you closer to your opponent. And this is where there's so many things that can happen. There's been scramble situations based on Alisa's Rage Drive. And whenever you're using this Rage Drive, at very important moments, maybe sometimes it's when both of you are in rage. Maybe it's just you being in rage. It's really important to know when it's the best time to use this Rage Drive. Because if the first part is whiffed, Alisa can be punished heavily for it. And when I say punished for it heavily, one of those things, it does include a Rage Art being able to interrupt that's the move, the Rage Art, or the Rage Drive. The Rage Drive between when she whiffs the first hit, the second hit can be absorbed by an opponent's Rage Art. So I'm going to talk about how Alisa's Rage Drive can be used to punish moves with pushback. Because I know we discussed a little bit earlier about how Alisa's Power Crush back forward 2 is a great way to respond to moves with pushback. But Alisa's Rage Drive does this as well. And it creates a combo. So I'm going to pick Jack 7. I'm going to show you all the magic of this rage drive. All right. So let's set Jack to do some moves. Some good pushback. Let's see. Let's see. Let's do that one. So Alisa can punish this forward 1+2 up close, and she gets a combo for this. Where normally, if it was too far, she wouldn't be able to. Or say if it whipped right here. I would be able to get the back forward 2, however, I wouldn't get a combo, and that could be crucial. In regards to punishing more moves with this rage drive, I also had learned that, so moves like this, moves are like 17. Can be punishable with her rage drive. Oh, oops. We'll just do the while rising 1+2, 1+2 part of Jack's string. And she gets a punish for that. Alisa's rage drive is 16 to 17 frames. And she gets to punish that. She gets to punish this move. So anything that's between these frames, 17, she can punish that with the rage drive, which is very helpful. This gives her extra damage, and this could potentially kill, depending on the situation. I find it very useful for that too, for punishing moves on block, also punishing moves with pushback. The rage drive also serves as a really good whiff punisher. So I'll show a little bit of an example of that. I'll still use Jack for this because his range is really good, so us punishing him from a certain range will show the strength of the rage drive, I believe. I'll do like his down back one. That was like his down back one. Okay, so what happened with that? Another one. And Alisa was very quickly able to whip punish the Wall Rising 4. Very quickly. Alisa, this rage drive being 16 frames is very helpful because she's able to execute that rage drive and do a whip punish when she needs to. And it's like her attempt to get the rage drive is more successful because it's not slower. She doesn't have to. You don't have to worry about when you're using it. You don't have to worry about like maybe the rage drive is a little too slow, so it doesn't connect quickly enough with the whipped move, or connect quickly enough to your opponent after they whipped. So you're like, oh, okay, well, now I missed my chance to get more damage. This move is 16 to 17 frames. And that's pretty decent to deal with to deal with opponents who are whiffing in front of you. So now we've talked a little bit about how Alisa's rage drive works with whiff punishing and how it works on block and on hit and in combos. Now I'm going to talk about what happens when you whiff this move. and how to defend against it. We'll go back to Kazuya, and then we'll go to Alisa. Okay. I only learned this like last year after it happened to me, where I whipped the first part of the rage drive, and once the second part came out, my opponent was able to rage art me. I was like, oh, this is so unfortunate. I was like, oh my god. And it made me think twice about where I was using my rage drive. And that the first hit was always connecting, so that the second hit couldn't be rage arted. Right. Oh, let's set Alisa to have rage. Repeat action, record. All right. So we do the first part, and I'll show what happens when the second part whiffs. See how when that second part whiffed, we were able to rage art that? That's also because we had a little bit of distance between us too. Now, the closer up you are, it seems as if you're not able to do the rage art. But even when the second part comes out, and you have to be very quick with doing this rage art. If you're going to do it, you have to commit to that. You have to press it right away. If you interrupt it right after the first hit of the rage drive whiffs, you are good. But you have to be on it. You have to be quick. But it's a successful, it's a very successful way to defend against it. And I've seen it done many times. All right, so now that we've talked about rage arts and how they work against Alisa's whipped rage drive, the second part of it, I am going to discuss how you can even walk it or step it, depending. All right, so I'm gonna set it to the rage drive again. Okay, we're gonna start to do the rage drive again. Okay, we're gonna have the second part with the first part. We're gonna have the first part whip, and then we're going to have the second part come at us. So then we're going to defend against the second part of the rage drive. Let's see if we can step it this way. Let's try again. I was not able to walk it to the left. And I'm not able to walk it to the right either. Let's try one more time. I am not able to step that. Let's try from a little further back. Maybe we'll be able to if we're further back. We're able to if we're further back. But even that, you have to commit fully to walking if you're going to do that. Yeah, that move is hitting when I walk left and right. So I think with that being kept in mind, having the first part of the rage drive whiff and then responding with the rage art to interrupt the second hit is a really good option. If you do it really quick, it'll come out every time. And you'll absorb a little bit of her hits, but not enough to kill you, hopefully, depending on the situation. Let's go a little bit further back. All right, so yeah, even with showing her showing defensive options against Alisa's rage drive, I'm going to show what happens or how you can defend with the follow-up, against the follow-up. Defending against the follow-up will be very important for you. Okay. So we're going to set her to do rage drive again. Have her fly forward. Okay, we're going to start with that. So because on block, the rage drive is +5, it's going to make it hard for you to step. So evading with stepping is not the same as when you're just doing fly by itself compared to doing the rage drive then going into fly. Now, when we do rage drive into fly, we're getting hit by fly 1, 2 when we step left and right, and that's not actually supposed to be the case. You're supposed to be able to walk it / step it. You're supposed to be able to walk it to the right. However, because on block, at least its rage drive is +5, we're not able to move after that rage drive is activated. Now, maybe if we do it a little quicker, maybe the walk will work. Okay, let's see if the change in speed will work. Okay. Looks like when we walk to the left, it works. But to the right, it does not. It's hitting us to the right. So that's interesting. So with the rage drive, when you do rage drive into fly 1, 2, you can walk it to the left, but you can't walk it to the right. However, in regular fly 1, 2, you can step it / walk it to the right, but you can't step it to the left. So it changes. All right, so now we'll have Alisa do some other options from rage drive into fly. And then we'll do 2. And 2. All right, let's see if we can step. We can step that. We were able to step the 2. We're able to step it both ways, left and right. We're able to walk, step on. So we have to walk. If we're going to evade this, we have to walk. We have to walk to the left and to the right. You have to really commit to that walk. And to the right is a little more difficult. But it is possible. Now we're going to record Alisa doing her rage drive into fly 3. That one's a very good one. It's a favorite. That one's hitting. And I'm trying to step to the left. I'm getting caught. Yeah, I'm not stepping that. Yeah, this move is catching me. That is a pretty solid mix-up. So if Alisa does rage drive fly in 3, you're not stepping either way. You can't step that 3. You can't step it left, you can't step it right. If she's up close like that, you're not stepping it. So the mix-up would be the fact that she has the Rage Drive Fly 3, but then she also has Rage Drive Fly 1, 2, and other things like that. So if you're trying to evade those moves, but you end up getting hit by the 3, or you get hit by the 3, and she's right in your face again, you're going to have to guess again. And you ducking could be the difference between you getting hit by that Fly 2 or any of her other mids. So it's a pretty solid mix-up. I'll set her to do these options. 1, 2. I'll do it a little quicker. And then we'll do 1, 2. And then we'll do Rage Drive into 3. And then we'll do Rage Drive into 2. Can't block that. I can't step that. It's hitting every single time. It's keeping me right there. Yeah, since it's +5, my down forward 1 is not hitting her. But my 10 frame jab worked. My 10 frame jab was able to work against her. Okay. Let's see what happens from further away. So, yeah, these are a couple of options to defend against Alisa, but it also shows you what you need to be aware of. Because her Rage Drive is +5 on block, you're going to have to really gauge what's important to block and to see what your opponent's pattern is, your opponent being the Alisa player. So you seeing how your opponent is fighting when they bring out the Rage Drive is so important, because you don't want to challenge too soon on anything that they do from Rage Drive into Fly, because it could be a little risky. And since she is +5 on that, it's okay to be a little more hesitant, kind of fall back and kind of see how your opponent is using that stance. Now, the Fly, the Rage Drive Fly into anything, I was able to jab and I was able to tailspin after the jab, but it has to be a 10 frame. I'm going to try this though. With another character, to be sure. I'll try it with Alisa, because why not? Pretty much every character has a 10 frame, for the most part. So, let's see. Let's see if this 10 frame jab can float most for options. Okay, that 10 frame jab did. All right. And I was able to do that really quickly, but we are going to try Rage Drive Fly into 3, because that does crush highs. And okay, what I thought was going to happen did happen. It crushed my high jabs, which are meant to, they were meant to float the Rage Drive. So you're going to have to be very careful with that. Yeah, so it's definitely a good mix-up. So it's very important that, wow, that's crazy. So it's very important that you understand that with that Rage Drive, her Rage Drive 3 her Rage Drive Fly 3 is scary. If you're going to challenge it, you need to see what your opponent has been doing up until then. What information do you have that kind of gives you the notion that maybe you might block there after you or maybe you'll block low after they do the rage drive, but it's so important that you think about that, because it'll be easy to get hit by something during her rage drive if you're not aware of your options. And that rage drive 3, watch out for that. That is a very strong move. If you notice that the Alisa player is using that 3 a lot, that down back 3, not that down back 3, that if you notice that the Alisa player is using that rage drive 3 a lot, or they've been using her fly 3 quite often, keep that in mind so that you can block it and punish accordingly. So as Alisa, or just any character who has a 13 frame punish, it's something. So, but Alisa's 3, her rage drive 3, her rage drive fly 3 is -14, and so is her fly. So is her fly 3. Her fly 3 and her rage drive fly 3 are -14. As you can see, as the frame data shows, it's -14. On hit, it is +4. When we block, it's -14. So for characters that have 13 frame rage arts, this will be a great time to use that. Or for characters who have those 13 frame launchers from crouch, this will be your best friend in this situation. I'll show what happens when Alisa blocks this move. She gets a rage art for this. Now I have to be a little quicker, I'm sure. Now, yeah, with Alisa, it seems as if that rage art is not working. I'm not sure why. It is 13 frames, so it should work against the 14 frame move. But either way, Alisa still gets wall rising 1-2. And she even gives her a chance to do maybe some chainsaw mix-ups, which still helps her in the long run. And then I'll go to Kazuya, and then I'll show how he deals with Alisa's rage drive fly through as well. Like that. Twin pistons. So we get twin pistons for it. We get a launcher, a nice launcher for that. Now I'm going to go to Steve because he has a 13 frame rage art. So I'm gonna see what's going on with that, because Alisa was not able to punish that with her rage art, and I'm quite curious as to why. Go to his move list. Key. Okay, and then we'll go to 3. All right. It's not able to punch her. It's because she's crouching. That's why. It's because she's crouching for so long that you're not able to really respond to it. Because it's 13. It's 13, as you all are saying, but unfortunately, because she's crouching for so long, it doesn't count as a punish. Does not count as a punish. Now I am going to try Anna. I just need to be sure. I need to double check. Oh, Anna. Okay, Lisa. Now we're going to check this last character just so I can see, because this is peculiar. But I guess I'm not that surprised. She's pretty much lingering down there in crouch. All right, so we'll set Alisa to do the same thing as before. 2, 5, 3. See if Anna's works. Nope. Because she's down there for a pretty long time, you will have to do your regular crouching, or your regular wall rising punish, your 13 frame punish from crouch. You're gonna have to do that one. Since it does seem like the rage art is not, no 13 frame rage art that I've used has been working against Alisa. I am going to try one more thing. Maybe this will work. Maybe holding down. Maybe trying that. But she's still crouching, so it's not going to work. Can we try one more thing? Alright. She's just down there for so long. And even if you wait for her to rise up a little bit, it's not considered a punish. All right, so we'll go back to simple select. We'll go back to Alisa. That was something I didn't know. All right. It's because she's crouching for so long. It's because she's crouching for that certain amount of time. Even though the 13 frame rage art is the correct punish, she's still crouching. She's crouching. She's still under there. So, and all the 13 frame rage arts that we did were highs, so they don't really count because she's still ducking. Even Alisa's did hit Alisa. It did hit her, but you could just crouch. Like, that's why it didn't count as a punish, because you could just duck it. You can just stay ducking. And Alisa's 13 frame rage art is a high as well. Everybody with the 13 frame rage art, all of theirs are highs. So that is good to know. And now you all can be aware of that too. So with Alisa's rage drive, this rage drive is really good for whiff punishing. It's really good for punishing moves that are like 16 to 17 frames. The move itself is really good on block. The move is great on block. It's +5 on block. She has true mix-ups from it. And I think one of the reasons why she has true mix-ups from this move is because of this move right here. That 3, that rage drive fly 3. Because you can't step this. You can't step this up close. It's really difficult to. And if you try and float her, her rage drive fly 3 can just crush that, and she'll get a combo. She'll get a combo on you for that. So yeah, Alisa's rage drive, definitely top 5 to me in the game. Love this move. I love it as a whiff punisher. I love it for the combo potential. I love it for just being close to my opponent. And even with it being on block, it's plus. So I love that I get to do more mix-ups. I get to cause more chaos in that close space. So there you have it. That is my Alisa guide, more like the ins and outs of my character. This is the first time I've done anything like this, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do it. I was a little nervous about doing this because I've never done something so extensive, but I learned a lot, and I'm proud of what I did, and I really hope I can help a lot of players and give them a lot of knowledge with this guide. I want to give a thanks to That Blasted Salami and their staff. They've been great with just all my questions and just reassuring me about what I'm doing with this project. Thank you so much, guys. I learned a lot, and thank you for having that faith in me. I respect you guys a lot and what you do. Thank you so much. And I wanted to also thank the audience. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for following my journey, and thank you for checking out this guide. Like I said, this is my first time doing this, but having your support has meant everything. Thank you so much. To all my old followers and my new ones, thank you. You know, in making this guide, as I thought about it, I was like, I feel like I'm teaching, I'm expanding people's minds doing this guide. And that's what guides are supposed to do. They're supposed to either teach you things you didn't know or just expand more on what you did know. And I thought back to all the players I looked up to and how they helped me when I was first starting out. There were certain things I didn't know about my character, or my characters in general, and there were certain things I didn't know about the game. But when I asked them, they were more than willing to help me. And so with this guide, I want to do the same for people who might be stuck maybe on the Alisa matchup, or maybe they want to play Alisa a certain way and they're trying to expand their knowledge in that sense. And so if you all are having those doubts or those questions, or you're reflecting on that, I hope this guide helps you. However it starts to help you, I really hope it does. Because I want to help and grow the community too. And I just don't want to be a player. I want to be able to contribute back to the community that helped mold and shape who I am today. So thank you so much to everybody that I just stated. And I really hope that you all enjoyed the Alisa guide, Cuddle's Alisa guide. And I can't wait to hear your feedback and just what I did well, what I could work more on in the future, because I think I'll do more guides like this maybe in the future. Maybe I will. Seeing how it depends on how this one will go. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and I can't wait to hear from you. Bye.